Hello, in this video we will be going over number 31 through 40 in the math portion of the 2018 to 2019 official practice ACT. Starting with number 31, we read that the number 1001 is the product of the prime numbers 7, 11, and 13. Knowing this, what is the prime factorization of 30,030? So they're essentially asking us, what can we multiply to get 30,030 that is only prime numbers? So we know that we have the prime factors of 1001. So what times 1001 equals 30,030? We could solve this by dividing both sides by 1001, and we find that x is equal to 30. So we know that 1001 times 30 equals 30,030. We also know our prime factors of 1001, which are 7, 11, and 13. We can break 30 down into 10 and 3. 3 is a prime number. 10, however, is not. We can further break that down into 5 and 2. Now, 5 and 2 are prime numbers. Prime number really just means that there is nothing more that you can divide it by besides itself and 1. So all of these numbers, 7, 11, 13, 5, 2, and 3, there is nothing that we can divide it by to make it smaller. Any whole numbers. So these are our prime factors of 30,030. So our answer choice is E. Our answer to number 31 is E. So for questions 32 through 34, we will use this following information. So Micah, in intern with the Parks and Recreation Department, is developing a proposal for the new trapezoidal Springdale Park. The figure below shows her scale drawing of the proposed park with 3 side lengths and the radius of the merry-go-round given in inches. In Micah's scale drawing, 1 inch represents 1.5 feet. So this is something that's important to remember. Number 32. What is the area in square inches of the scale drawing of the park? So we know that we're finding the area in our scale drawing units. So we know we'll be finding the area in inches rather than in feet. So for this, we need to know the equation for a trapezoid because this is a trapezoidal shaped park. Our equation for that is 1/2 times the height times the first base plus the second base. So we're essentially just doing our base times height equation that we do if we were to find the area of a rectangle. However, in a trapezoid, we have 2 different bases. So we add them up and then we average them. So that's what this 1/2 does. So now we go back up to our picture. We find our height. We see that it is 16 inches. We can plug that into our equation. And then we find our bases. So 28 and 40 inches. We can then type all of that into our calculator, and we get 544 inches, which matches our answer choice G. Moving on to number 33. Micah's proposal includes installing a fence on the perimeter of the park. What is the perimeter in feet of the park? So this one, we want to know the perimeter, which is just the length of all the outside edges. And we want to know in feet. So this means we are going to have to use this scale conversion. So every 1 inch represents 1.5 feet. So we know this side is 28 inches. We know this side is 16. This side is 40. But how can we find the side length of this side? Clearly it's not 16 because that would be our length if we were to just go straight down. But we can use that 16 to help us find our hypotenuse of this triangle if we were to turn this into a right triangle. And then how do we find this length right here? Well, we simply do our total length of 40 subtracted by the 28 to find this difference. So we do 40 minus 28 equals 12. So we know this side length is 12. So now we have a right triangle that has a base of 12 and a base of 16. So we use our Pythagorean theorem to see a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We plug in our two side lengths, 12 and 16, and we solve for c squared. So we, after plugging this in, get c squared is equal to 400. And then we take the square root of both sides, and c is equal to 20. So that tells us that this side length right here is equal to 20. So we have our four side lengths are 20, 28, 16, and 40. So now we can just add those up. 20 plus 28 plus 16 plus 40. And that is equal to 104 inches. However, remember, this is in inches, and we want our answer to be in feet. So it'd be really easy to choose C right here, but we need to convert it to feet. So we know that we have 104 inches, and in this drawing, we know that for every 1 inch, it corresponds to 1.5 feet. So we can use dimensional analysis and cancel out our inches for our units, and we'll multiply 104 times 1.5, which gives us 156 feet. So our answer is E, not C, because that is our answer in inches, not feet. So our answer to number 33 is E. Moving on to number 34, the length of the south side of the park is what percent of the length of the north side? So for this one, we need to figure out what's the length of the south side and what is the length of the north side. Going back up to our diagram, we see our south side length is 40 inches and our north side is 28. So our south side is 40 inches and our north side is 28 inches. So to figure out the percent, think of this as if you were to figure out your percentage that you scored on a test. If you were to answer 40 questions correct out of a total of 28. Let's say there was quite a bit of extra credit on this test. So all you have to do is do 40 divided by 28 times 100%. And that gives us 142.9%. If we didn't do the times 100% here, we just did 40 divided by 28, that would still work. We would just get 1.429, and we would have to remember that this is in decimal form, and we have to convert it to percentage form by simply moving the decimal over 2 to the right. So our answer to this problem is 142 6/7, so 8. Starting number 5, we will use the following information to answer questions number 35 through 37. The Smith family is planning to build a three-room cabin which consists of 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. Below are the rectangular floor plan, left figure, and a side view of the cabin, right figure. In the side view, the roof forms an isosceles triangle ABC. The walls are perpendicular to the level floor. Line ED and line AC is parallel to line ED. F is the midpoint of line AC, and line BF is perpendicular to line AC. During the week the Smiths plan to roof the cabin, there is a 20% chance of rain each day. So number 35. Mr. Smith plans to build a 3-foot wide walkway around the outside of the cabin, as shown in the floor plan. What will be the area in square feet of the top surface of the walkway? So we know that we have a rectangular cabin and a 3-foot wide walkway around it. So the dimensions of our cabin are 24 by 30. Woo, all over the place. 24 by 30. The dimensions of our walkway are going to be 30 by 36. So all we have to do is we want to find the area of this middle region. So we have to find the area of our inside rectangle, which would be 30 times 24, which is 720. Now if we find the area of our outside rectangle, it is 36 times 30, which gives us 1080. So to find the area of this shaded region, we want to take the total area of this large rectangle and subtract the area of the smaller inside rectangle. So we will do 1080 minus 720, which gives us 360 feet squared, which matches answer choice C. Number 36, Mrs. Smith will install a ceiling fan in each room of the cabin and will place curtains over 4 windows. Each of the ceiling fans has a price of $52. The price of curtains for each small window is $39.50, and the price of curtains for the large window is twice that for the small window. Based on this information, which of the following values is closest to the total price Mrs. Smith will pay for curtains and ceiling fans? So we know we have ceiling fans, and she will install 3 of them, one for each room. So $52 times 3, and that gives us $156. Whoa. Then we know we have the price of curtains for each small window is $39.50. So we can look up here at how many small windows we have. We have 1, 2, 3 total small windows. So we are going to have to do $39.50 times 3 small windows, and that gives us $118.50. And then we know that the price of curtains for a large window is twice that for a small window. So first we have to go look at how many large windows we have. Just 1. So we have 1 large window times the price of the small window times 2, because we know that the price of the large window is twice as much as the price of the small window. So we can multiply 39.5 times 2, and we get $79. We add up these 3 numbers right here, and then we get $353.50, which is about equal to $354, which matches our answer choice J. Number 37, Mr. and Mrs. Smith plan to roof the cabin on 2 consecutive days. Assuming that the chance of rain is independent of the day, what is the probability that it will rain both days? So in our background information, we learned that the chance of rain each day was 20%. And if we write that as a decimal, that is equal to 0.20. So we want to know what's the probability that it rains both the first day and the second day. And if we remember our probability rules, when we want to know the possibility of two events occurring, we have to multiply. So 0.2 times 0.2, and that gives us 0.04. If it was, what's the probability that it rains the first day or the second day, we would add. So remember, or we add and we multiply when it comes to probability. So our probability that it will rain both days and is 0.04, which matches our answer choice A. Number 38, which of the following expressions, when evaluated, equals an irrational number? So let's try this one. We get, if we simplify both the top and the bottom, we can't simplify the square root of 2. However, we know that we can simplify this to the square root of 4 and the square root of 2. And then this becomes 2 times the square root of 2. The square root of 2's cancel out and we get 1/2, which is not an irrational number. So this does not equal an irrational number. Trying the second one, we can simplify the square root of 8 just like we did up above to the 2 times the square root of 2. And the bottom remains the square root of 2. Again, we can cancel those out and we get 2, which is a rational number, so not G. If we go to H, we get the square root of 8 times the square root of 8. And our rule, anything under the square root multiplied by itself will just equal whatever is under the square root. So our answer here is 8, which is, again, not irrational. Option J, square root of 2 times the square root of 8. We can multiply the numbers under the radical, which we get the square root of 16 then, which is equal to 4, which again, that is rational. We're looking for an irrational number. Now here we can simplify the square root of 2 and the square root of 8, because when we add, we need to have the same number under the radical. So now we have the square root of 2 plus 2 square roots of 2, and that is equal to 3 times the square root of 2, which is irrational. So irrational means that it cannot be written as a fraction. So we can't write square root of 2 as a fraction. It has a decimal with no end if we were to type square root of 2 in our calculator. So K is irrational, which equals an irrational number. Our option K equals an irrational number. Number 39, a line through the origin and 10, 4 is shown in the standard XY coordinate plane below. The acute angle between the line and the positive x-axis has measure theta. What is the value of tangent theta? So if we were to turn this into a triangle, a right triangle, we know that our side length on our x-axis would be 10 because we go over 10 and then we go up 4. So our side length for this side would be 4. Now, we know that we are looking at tangent of this angle right here, theta. And if we remember our SO, ka, toa, we know tangent of theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. And we know our opposite angle, or opposite side length from our angle, is 4. And we know our adjacent, right here, is 10. So we know tangent of theta is equal to 4 over 10, but we can simplify this fraction by dividing both the top and the bottom by 2, which gives us 2/5. So tangent of theta is equal to 2/5, which matches our answer choice D. So number 39 is D. Our last question for this video, number 40. The equation absolute value of 2x minus 8 plus 3 equals 5 has two solutions. These solutions are equal to the solutions to which of the following pairs of equations? So first of all, we have to get just absolute value on one side and all other numbers on the other. So we can do this by subtracting 3 from both sides, in which case we get absolute value of 2x minus 8 is equal to 2. From there, we can turn this into two equations. Our first one we keep exactly the same, but we remove our absolute value signs. So it becomes 2x minus 8 equals 2. And the other one, we change everything in the absolute values to negative, because absolute values make everything positive, which indicates that all of this could in fact be equal to the negative value of 2. So we know that these are our two equations, and they're written in this format. Sometimes they might ask you to distribute this negative, in which case it would be negative 2x plus 8 equals 2. But in this case, they present your answers in this format. So we know that our answers are not equal to 8, so it's not going to be H or J. We know our answers are not equal to 5 and negative 5. So K is our choice, our best choice. Option K is the correct answer. It matches both the 2x minus 8 right here and the negative parentheses 2x minus 8 close parentheses. Whereas this one, for G, for that to be correct, we would need this to be a plus rather than a minus. So our best choice is K. Thank you for tuning into this video. I hope that it was helpful, and please join us in the next video where we will go over number 41 through 50 on the math portion of this ACT.